It's November 2nd, 2018. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. What a week for WWE. What a day for WWE. Perhaps the absolute weirdest network special pay-per-view live event that I can remember. The crown jewel from Saudi Arabia. Didn't really lean on the Saudi Arabia too heavily.
Didn't say it once.
Yeah, but
they said Riyadh a couple times, but
everyone knows Riyadh.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a big chunk of people that don't know that Riyadh is in Saudi Arabia. So
I'm sure people are like, did they say Rio?
Yeah. This doesn't look like Rio, but
yeah, lots of people dressed in white. Raj Giri and myself, we're covering this two-man style.
Two-man team.
The weirdest. I will admit, going into this, I did not pay super close attention because I was bored out of my mind by a lot of this.
You know what? I am starting my post-Crown Jewel decompression now. By the end of the night, I hope to have forgotten about Crown Jewel this whole week, all the Saudi Arabia stuff, and hopefully we don't have to talk about it again for a while. A weird show. Showed a lot of things that are wrong with WWE right now.
Yes.
Highlighted it to an extent. The guys are old as hell and busted their ass in the main event. They were the most over guys on the show, which is a problem. The World Cup, no one gave a shit about until Shane was in, which is a problem. None of the younger talents came across as big stars, which is obviously a big problem. Roman Reigns is out. So you go back to a part-time champion who's not going to be on the show. So once again, with your top guy, top star out, and not only is he out, but now that Universal Championship is not going to be the focal point of your TV show. And I'm guessing, and I'm guessing it's until WrestleMania. I don't think they'd be paying Lesnar all this money to just hold it for a month or two. So, I just thought that this was, I wouldn't say it's the worst show I've ever seen. I was, kind of amused by a lot of it. It was one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen, and it started off weird. And I don't know. I can't wait to wash my hands with it. And Triple H looked like he got injured in that. I don't know how serious it is, or if he was just selling like a champ, but it definitely looked like he hurt his arm to me.
Well, I'll tell you what we wanted to see, what we thought was going to happen was Braun Strowman going over Brock. Thought this might be okay, lemonade from lemons. Roman Reigns is out. Now's the chance for Braun to shine. We did not get that.
Yeah, I mean, it went to, like I've said many times, I love Brock. I love his matches. I think they're so different. They're always weird. He's a superstar. He brings this, this different vibe to everything that he does, but he should not be holding that title. That title needs to be the focal point of the show right now, especially you're hurting. You got Roman Reigns out and you got Kevin Owens out. Kevin Owens is one of the most entertaining parts of Raw.
Absolutely.
That's gone. And then Reigns is gone, who's the biggest star. And now the title's gone as well. So it's just kind of shooting yourself in the foot. I'm all for Brock coming back. I'm all for using him, but not holding that belt.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the Greatest Royal Rumble and then watch this, it's like nothing happened. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Greatest Royal Rumble was better. That was at least an entertaining pay-per-view just because of the Greatest Royal Rumble event and how absolutely weird that was.
Yeah, and I think the negativity towards that, was around the women, right?
Sure.
And with this, it was a lot more serious. It's Jamal Khashoggi, being killed in the Saudi embassy last month, and continue on with this. So it was a very different set of circumstances with this show. And as of a week ago, it almost looked like it wasn't going to happen. So
yeah,
I felt it's kind of harder to enjoy from the get-go. But
well, and speaking of which, so I didn't watch the kickoff show. I wasn't even aware there was a kickoff show until I was just looking at the results right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Nakamura and Rusev.
Didn't even know that was happening because it kept saying 12 noon Eastern. So I was up at 9 a.m. Pacific, ready to go.
Yeah, it was Nakamura and Rusev. I thought this was a really good match too. You should go back and watch it. Rusev was really over with this crowd. The crowd, you could tell clearly there are a lot of WWE fans. It's not all, royal family transplants and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, and I have to say, I popped for a moment or two when New Day came out. They had the little kid in glasses with his dad there, and he was in the Cena shirt and stuff. I was like, oh, wrestling is universal. We all enjoy wrestling.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, right? Like, I think a lot of times when you bring up Saudi Arabia, it's not the Saudi Arabian people. There's there's wrestling fans just like the rest of us. They're out there having a good time, and so it sucks for them that they got to deal with that government and that regime.
And I feel like internationally they might not get. Well, I think I was going to say, isn't it this way in every country? In Saudi, it's probably not this way. But like in America, in the UK, you can love America, you can love England, you can absolutely hate the people in charge.
Right? Yeah.
So this has nothing to do with the Saudi Arabian people. Nothing but love for them. But the powers that be,
Someone's asking about the prayer breaks. They actually it took place right before the show was the last prayer break, so there wasn't one during. So,
and they prayed so hard that Hulk Hogan made his WWE return.
Yeah, hosting the show. So hosting the show now means you just show up for a quick promo and that's it.
What do you think you got? $500,000 for that one segment?
I don't know. I mean, they got money for days from this show, so. I have no idea. Yeah. I'm sure Hulk, just was very anxious to do it. I'm sure he really, I'm not kidding. Yeah. I'm sure he really wanted to do it. He
probably did it for
wanted
free,
to do anything to get back on WWE television. So,
okay. So I guess that's the question. Are we not going to see, is Hulk going to disappear from the WWE again? Or is this are they going to build off this?
I don't think so. His merch was added back to WWE Shop. I think this was a way to get him back where his return wasn't the most controversial thing, right? So
yeah, well, there's that.
Yeah.
Good Lord. This was such a weird goddamn paper. And off the heels of Evolution, I felt so good about the WWE this week, thinking about Evolution, thinking about what I saw there, thinking about the vibe there. It's easy to lie to yourself about what kind of company this is. But it's Crown Jewel, nope, they put it all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did your Twitter feed look during this? I noticed a lot of people actually sort of walking the talk and not talking about it, not watching it. Yeah. Greatest Royal Rumble, I feel like a lot of people caved at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, even on the site, interest-wise, it wasn't quite as high as Greatest Royal Rumble. By the end, it was getting close, but definitely for the first half, it wasn't.
Yeah. So Hogan came out, kicked off the show. And then we had the first match of the WWE World Cup, the first round match of Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton.
Hogan got a huge pop, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, he is still Hulk. I mean, over there, do you think over there they care about the N-word tape?
I guess that Hogan probably gets a big pop at a lot of places he shows up here too. Yeah, so he's back. I just don't know what you do with Hulk. All these people are like, oh, he should come back. It's like, fine, but what do you do with him? He can't wrestle. He's 65. I mean, he looks in tremendous shape for 65, but you don't want to use him as a PR guy with the baggage that he has, So I don't know what you do with him. You make him a special referee. GM, I think he would just overshadow everyone if he was in that role. So
it just seems, I can just see tomorrow night. Oh, maybe with Angle losing, maybe Angle comes back to Raw, but God forbid Hogan's the new GM of Raw.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah. But after today, anything seems plausible. Good response for Hogan. Good response for Ray. Actually, this crowd, maybe because they downsized the venue, here the crowd seemed much more into it, even with the immediate rows surrounding of people that were, the distinguished guests that weren't maybe quite as big of marks as everyone else in the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd was really into the show early on, and then it died out for like a couple hours. I mean, it just felt like there was just no energy for a while. And then kind of like with AJ and Samoa Joe, I think the crowd was into AJ a little. They started to come back a little, and then they were back. I think once with Brock and Braun. and then definitely for the main event.
Yeah,
it was weird. There were CM Punk chants like all night, like just scattered around. They weren't like overly loud or anything, but yeah, I don't know. That was I thought just really weird.
Yeah. Do you think so what I think it's like for wrestling fans, did you ever go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like growing up?
No.
You never got dragged to one of those?
No.
Okay, but like when you go to something that you have you know about it, and you know the shtick, and you know the thing, and you're going for the first time, and you're that guy where it's like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, because like now's my chance to do these things I've always heard about. I think for some Saudi Arabian fans, it was like, now's my chance to go and yell CM Punk. Finally, it's finally here.
Yeah, that's an item.
I've seen it on TV for 10 years, 5 years. Now I get to go and do that in person.
There you go.
Freedom has come to Saudi Arabia, where everyone could chant CM Punk at WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Ray versus Randy was cool. Ray won, surprise pin. It was nice. He countered the RKO, but then Orton beat the crap out of him after. A weird storyline they went with that, with like, oh, no one can compete. Shane, you have to save the day.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was kind of building up for Ray to win the whole thing. I just think this was just such a blown opportunity. Like I said, Shane winning, it's amusing. It's kind of funny, I guess. But is that what you want? Reigns is out. You could have used this to get Seth Rollins hot again, right?
I thought they were going to use it for Bobby.
You could have used that for you could use it there too. But remember when Rollins earlier this year, when he really started to feel like a main event guy again, it was that gauntlet match, and he had that tremendous performance, and he got there, and then they knocked him down, with the Intercontinental title and the feud with Ziggler, and then he was kind of back to the mid card. You could have gotten him back there with a strong showing in this tournament, have him beat Lashley, and then like Angle in the quarterfinals or the semifinals. And then in the finals, have him beat Orton. So he beats these top guys, having wars, and wins, and it would help him out. It would help him feel like a bigger star. But instead, they did what they did.
Yeah, man.
And yet, yes, people in the chat are asking, Miz's injury was not real. It was
so Jeff Hardy versus The Miz. Where The Miz won, skull-crushing finale. I felt like I was watching SmackDown. I mean, I guess it makes sense. These were the SmackDown stars going against each other, but I feel like we've been seeing this. There was nothing new here. Yeah,
I mean, I felt like they should have mixed up the opening brackets, have the SmackDown versus Raw, so at least it feels different. But Rollins versus Lashley was new, and Angle versus Ziggler was new. So the Raw side, I guess you could say, was new. But the SmackDown side, it just felt like, and that's when I felt like the crowd started dying. Was this not Orton? What was the next one? Jeff Hardy and The Miz.
Yeah. And then they went to Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. Leo had the mic briefly, then gave the mic away. No earpiece in there.
Yeah, no mic during the match.
Did you watch 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, Raj, the little recreation we had of Justin LaBar doing Vince while Nick was doing Leo?
I heard about that. I need to check that out.
That was a high point of the Wrestling Inc. podcast, and that's all I think about now. But yeah, so Leo was even a little kind of subdued.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't have the house mic during the match, so there's not much you can do. So, and they didn't focus on him, so you couldn't really see what he was doing during the match. But I thought, this. Oh, did we cover Hardy and The Miz?
We talked about it briefly. What specifically?
The ending.
Oh, so Miz used the ropes. Referee saw him. Hardy rolled up The Miz for a 2 count. Miz blocked the twist of fate, hit the skull crushing finale for the pin to advance.
Yeah.
And
really basic. That match was kind of nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I got to give props for a minute because we were speculating on this on Wednesday. Renee Young sitting there right ringside doing commentary, but I'm willing to bet that was not shown on the Saudi feed.
I don't think they have a different feed for that.
Well, they had the announcers. They had the Saudi announcers, right?
Oh, yeah, but I don't think they cut to them. I think they all see the same feed. Like even the foreign language pay-per-views, they don't have different camera angles.
No, I'm talking the version that the KSA showed on.
Right, yeah, they showed the same feed. Like even
interesting.
Yeah, even remember Greatest Royal Rumble? They showed that same promo and all that stuff. It's the same. They see the same thing worldwide.
Huh. Interesting. I thought Renee did very well given the circumstances.
Yeah, and so Dean Ambrose was there. He was flown out, but they didn't use him on the show, so maybe he was just there.
So weird
with Renee. Yeah.
Well, yes.
I mean, Renee, it's a step. I mean, it's kind of transparent what they're doing, but it's a step, right?
Yeah, it's a start.
It's something.
I don't know what the rules are there. I was gonna make a joke. I wanted to go to Dubai once because you see all this stuff about Dubai, and my wife made the stipulation: I am not going anywhere where I'm considered your legal property.
Well, you'll see a lot of like 60 Minutes and stuff, right, where they're interviewing. Like you'll have a female journalist interviewing people, in some of those in Saudi Arabia, and they have to wear the headscarf. So I almost thought like maybe Renee would have to wear that, but she totally dressed normal, dressed like she usually does. Yeah,
it was okay. I mean, maybe it's because they didn't do the overt the video package this time.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing.
It made it feel more subdued. I guess if you were a casual person that just, although who's casual enough that has a WWE Network subscription that tuned this on and had no clue the backstory or idea, was just like, what? Hogan's at a WWE event?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't follow it on the internet, you'd have no idea. So that's a huge surprise, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Seth versus Bobby. I was surprised Dean didn't run in on this.
Yeah. This match was nothing. They just beat Bobby. They're just killing his steam fast. He's such a good heel in Impact. People crap on Impact a lot, but there's so many stars where they used him a lot better than WWE does, and Bobby's one of them.
Yeah. See, curb stomp. Got the pin out of nowhere. He went forward in the match. Yeah.
Lashley dominated most of the match, but Rollins got the clean win out of nowhere.
So that was surprising, I thought, given that I thought this was going to be Bobby's chance. In fact, I think on Wednesday, Justin was speculating Bobby wins, Hulk Hogan comes out, raises his hand. That's how they cap the moment.
Yeah, but Bobby's a heel too, so
that's true. But more surprising to me was that Kurt Angle lost to Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of figured Kurt wasn't going to wrestle too many matches. I mean, this is one of the things I thought was kind of they did a shitty job with was not mentioning how big a deal this is, that it's Kurt Angle's first singles match on WWE TV in 12 years.
Could you imagine that should be a big deal? A year ago, if I said to you, Kurt Angle is going to wrestle a match at a pay-per-view and lose to Dolph Ziggler. A year ago, if I would have said that.
Yeah. His first singles match back and loses to Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, I just thought it sucked. There were so many. I mean, you could have had Angle lose to Rollins. At least it gives Rollins something. Ziggler's not going to be a top guy. The die is cast with Ziggler. You just could have someone beating Kurt Angle means so much more than what they did here. It was just nothing.
Yeah, Ziggler won it with the zigzag. Not even an interference where McIntyre made this possible.
Yeah, McIntyre did nothing this show. He was just there.
So yeah, Dolph won that, hit the zigzag on Kurt Angle.
At least they're all clean finishes, and I like that. I just feel like this tournament did nothing for anyone.
No, because this is my new thing. Since they had Hogan, the Saudi prince that booked this was like, David was like, and I want clean finishes, no interference, no cheating. Everyone's going to win clean, and I want Ziggler to go over to Kurt Angle. Like he just booked it. He called the matches.
I doubt that. I'm sure,
For $40 million, I think, come on. Vince would have probably accepted any booking idea.
If they cared about that, they wouldn't have had Hogan come out and, look like a superhero to real American. No.
The 80s came late to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's another one, man. Get an instrumental version. If Hogan's back, and I have many feelings and words to say about that, we don't need to devote this podcast to it. But similar to HBK, have CFO record some hot new instrumental versions of these old themes.
Good. Or just do Voodoo Child. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Someone was saying the ending wasn't clean. I thought that was clean. What happened there at the end?
What happened at the end was Ziggler rolled, but Angle turns the hold right back over. McIntyre was looking on. Ziggler broke the hold. Angle charges, hits the ring post shoulder first as Ziggler moves. Ziggler with a zigzag for the win. So maybe Drew's
pretty clean.
Raw masculinity just distracted Kurt Angle.
Yeah. All right.
SmackDown Tag Team title match. The New Day versus The Bar, defending their titles with Big Show.
New Day coming out on a flying carpet.
Yeah.
It was a cool visual. I guess they don't consider that offensive over there, the flying carpet stuff.
I don't know. I mean,
they must not. Yeah, I mean, they prevented Sami Zayn from going last time because they're so worried about their the sensibilities over there. So I doubt they'd do something that would, blatantly offend them. So I'm sure that must not be.
Do you think it's one of those things though, where I feel like certain cultures, in certain locales, you just sort of own? It's like in Hawaii, they're selling the hula girls and the grass skirts. They know that for tourists, that's what they associate with Hawaii. Yeah. It's not the day-to-day life, but maybe Saudi Arabia is like flying carpets. Say, you know what? We'll give them that.
Yeah, I guess so.
It'd be funny if that's the most controversial thing, because I mean there'll be something, I'm sure, similar to last time. Something will have happened. We will get a story after this. But no, I thought New Day was great coming out. Man, I will say with the pyro back and the production value, this is what it takes.
Well, it's an open, it's an open stadium. So they're doing it for these international shows, but they kind of, they don't really need it with, I mean, the WWE setup now, it's like all screens and there's just stuff flashing all over the place, even the ring posts and everything. So, I think the pyro looks cool. I will say this for this event, the setup and everything looked awesome. And the pyro during a lot of the ring entrances, it looked really cool. But on a weekly basis, it's not making any difference in ratings.
Yeah. I thought it was excessive when they were doing it indoors. And that was always my least favorite part about going to a live Raw, was at the beginning, it was very loud.
Yeah, I liked it. I felt like it got you going.
It's like I
prefer the pyro to all these screens all over the place. I feel like the screens all over the place makes it look like a toy.
Well, that's the new cheap production value everybody's doing on cable. It's like, if we get a 4K screen, we can put anything in the background.
But now the ring apron's a screen, the corners are a screen. I think it's just too much.
Yes.
Maybe I'm getting too old.
That is probably part of it as well.
Yeah.
Big Show dropped Big E.
Interfered. So that wasn't a clean win.
Yeah, there we go. And Sheamus got the brogue kick for the pin. The Bar, man, missing for so long and now back on top. What's up with Gallows and Anderson?
No real explanation with the Big Show pairing. It's just kind of there.
Probably, I mean, this show is probably the reason why they did the pairing, to work Big Show into a match.
But he didn't do anything. I mean, he was just in the corner.
Hulk Hogan came out, announced the show, and then went backstage. Yeah,
I thought he would do at least one backstage segment or something. They didn't do any backstage segments, right?
Not that I was aware of.
I can't remember any. Yeah.
Semifinals match: The Miz versus Rey Mysterio, that happened, and Rey losing this, making a big deal about he was beat up. The Miz got the knees up when Rey went for a splash, rolled him up, and got a pin to advance to the finals. This whole tournament, this tournament and the build up to it is the closest thing we've seen to the SmackDown top 10 list.
Yeah. There is one thing about it being unpredictable, and I'm all for being unpredictable, but when it's good, unpredictable. When it's shit unpredictable, you could have had Miz and Dolph Ziggler both get injured, and Kurt Hawkins and R-Truth fill in for him to determine who's best in the world. It's unpredictable, but it's not good.
Absolutely.
But it's not good.
That actually would have been, come on, R-Truth and Kurt Hawkins, that would have, I would be on here now advocating that would have been the match of the night.
Yeah,
just because it was so out of nowhere. They got $40 million, and maybe the Sheik stipulation was that Kurt Hawkins is going to get his win in Saudi Arabia.
Those guys don't get the extra money. It's the part timers that get the big paydays. Yeah. Those guys, it's pretty much just a weekend payoff.
Yeah, I mean they don't get anything extra.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I've never heard of any
deal.
bonuses or anything from the last one.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, obviously they're getting a ton. John Cena would have. Obviously, Brock Lesnar's got paid, through the roof. But the regular guys, the full-time guys, no.
Huh. That is interesting. Yeah. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler's winning streak continued.
Rollins is the closest thing to a top star that they have, and they keep messing with him. And he's about to get in this he's in this hot feud with Dean Ambrose. Could be one of the hotter things in the company, and they beat him here like nothing.
And I like Ziggler more than most people like Ziggler.
I think Ziggler's very, very talented. Again,
Absolutely.
The die has been cast. It's gonna take a long time as pushing him as like not an underneath guy to really get people believing that he's not. They've just pushed him a certain way for so long. You can't. It's the gender thing. You can't push someone as an opening match guy for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's the main event, and people buy it. People see through that. It never works.
Now, when you say the die has been cast, what is your interpretation of the origin of that? Like, oh, hey, I'm going to dye my hair purple. Oh, no, changed my mind. Too late. The dye's been cast. Now I've got purple hair.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it too much.
If you're like dyeing clothing or garments and you pour the dye in the water and it's like, oh no, can't undo it. Dye's been cast.
It could be. It's hard to come out of those.
Just always wondered. Yeah, this was a good pay-per-view for wandering thoughts. Like, what in the hell am I doing with my life, let alone my Friday?
There's about 2.5 hours of the show where I'm just like, I should be checking something else, or maybe I should pay some bills. It was just like really dull. This was part of it. The Rollins versus Ziggler match, the crowd was just dead.
I even made a to-do list today where I was like, I'm going to do all these things during the pay-per-view, but it was so boring that I couldn't even do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new level. Dolph Ziggler beating Seth Rollins. Why? Because they can. WrestleMania 35 promo. They've been hyping that a lot. Survivor Series. They've been hyping that a lot. Then we got Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. The replacement for Daniel Bryan choosing to not partake in this trip to Saudi Arabia. We got Daniel versus AJ for the WWE SmackDown, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on this past Tuesday. Tonight, it was Samoa Joe's turn to challenge again. And I thought this was a good match. I think these guys are always solid. But at this point, the show was going really long.
Okay, so the dye has been cast thing. You think it's referring to the color dye?
Yeah, like I'm pouring dye in something.
No, it's supposed to be dice.
Oh, really?
Like it's the fate has been set.
But you can just catch like a dice.
No, when it's cast, that means it's.
So you just roll again. Do over. I don't like the first one.
Not if you went all in.
Yeah, just saying. But you put dye inside the liquid, you can't undo that. That's permanent.
All right. We'll have to move on. But that's not what dye has been. The saying refers to dice.
Huh. Well, I learn something new all the time. Next time on Wrestling Inc., we'll break down how to play dominoes, which I've never understood. I just always line them up and then knock them down. So, Joe fought off the cash scripter attempt. AJ dropped him with a Pele kick. More back and forth. AJ hit him with a phenomenal forearm for the pin to retain. This feud was good, but I thought we were done with it. It seemed a little weird to go back. You think they're going to stay on this or back to Daniel this week?
I think they're staying on it. They beat Daniel clean. I think it seemed to me like Daniel was being punished, right? Did it come off that way to you?
Yeah, a little. I mean, again, didn't lose to Kurt Hawkins. I mean,
Yeah, but he lost by submission. When's the last time a top babyface is lost by submission?
It's true.
Yeah, and clean. And then he got choked out afterwards. It seemed very much like when you're sending a message, that's what you do. So I have a feeling Daniel Bryan's out of the world title picture, and it's probably going back to the Miz.
Huh. That could be cool.
I don't know. I'm kind of done with that feud, but
the Miz and Daniel. Well, I think you go around and then you bring back Miz versus Daniel Bryan for the Rumble or Mania. 1-on-1.
Never here in the daytime. I'm like, what the heck? Something's banging on my walls, and it's our Roomba. Anyway.
Yeah. People in the chat room are disputing the tie has been cast.
All right. Let's settle this. It means a choice has been made that you cannot change.
Well, so I get
like
the
once
meaning.
The die has been thrown.
Yeah, but what's it based on? You know, it's like one
based
of those.
On dice.
Yeah.
All right.
Matt Morgan really, really picked a good day to take off. The vacant Universal title match, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Baron Corbin ringside. Baron Corbin gets some cheap shots on Braun Strowman right before it starts. Paul Heyman does the hype, and then we get the match. And like 2 minutes later, Brock Lesnar is Universal Champion again.
Yeah, it was about a 3-minute match. Baron Corbin attacked Braun with the belt before the match started.
Yes.
So that kind of set things off. And then it was basically 5 F5s. Or was it 4? Brock hit him with an F5, 2 count. Got Braun another F5, 2 count. Then I think the next F5 was outside of the ring. Braun avoided the count out, got back in. Another F5, and that was it. It's a 3-minute match. Braun, they gave him nothing. And Brock's the Universal Champion again.
Yep.
You know, I said it earlier. Everything that's wrong with that. I like Brock. I think he's very valuable, but you need, with Roman gone and Owens gone, you need that title to mean something on that show. And now it's back to being seen once in a while, at least, again, probably until WrestleMania.
Yeah. Huh.
I feel like it kind of, I don't know. Braun's momentum has been stalled the last few months anyway, but I feel like this hurts it even more.
Yeah.
To lose in 3 minutes, even with the outside interference, but to lose like that, I don't know.
WWE World Cup Finals. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Miz.
The best in the world.
Best in
Finally
the
finding
world.
out who the best in the world is.
And it's Shane McMahon.
All along, they've been there. The best in the world. Ziggler and the Miz.
Which, you know, when I saw them, what was it, in No Mercy, like 2 years ago? That was a really good match. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. This tonight?
Well, they didn't get to wrestle.
Yeah. So Shane replaced the Miz.
So yeah, like Miz was, they started, this was before the bell rang. So they were making it clear that the match hadn't started, and they started, you know, fighting before the bell rang. Miz threw Ziggler outside of the ring, chased him out, you know, went to the outside, and when jumping from the ring apron to the floor, sold it like his knee buckled and he injured his knee.
Yeah.
So the ref, they're about to call off the match. They keep going to the mic to announce that Ziggler won the match by forfeit, but Shane's like, no, this, you know, we're not going out like that. This ain't happening. And then finally, Shane's like, screw it. I'm going to go in. I'm going to fill in for the Miz. And
it should have been Vince. That would have been a better outcome. Vince comes out and wins the tournament and goes, I'm the best in the world.
Might as well. But Shane, you know, at least Shane can do some stuff. So
yes, if
Shane
you want
took
someone
his,
that can dance and
yeah, he looks
box.
the part more kind of. But
I like Shane McMahon.
I do too. I thought this was stupid as hell, but I like Shane. Again, it was amusing. Shane took off his shirt. He had like this black tank top on underneath. He was pretty ripped.
Which is good. The last time we saw him in the ring, he was on death's door.
Right. And yeah, it was like a 2-minute match with Ziggler. So the 3-minute Universal title match followed by the 2-minute finals. Was that kind of what it was?
Yes. No, Shane looks good. I'm glad his health is back. Shane he is absolutely capable of putting on a good match and doing some interesting things in the ring, but this was just so out of nowhere.
It was. You want to get the finish?
Oh, yeah. Shane hit a coast to coast, covered Ziggler for the win.
The coast to coast looked good.
Absolutely. You know what I wished? I've never said this before, but this is a bonus treat for everyone that's listening to this podcast, because I know it seems like we're a little down on this, so I want some Easter eggs. Remember at WrestleMania when Shane's health was in there? What did he have? He had something like a bowel thing that was wrong, and he was hurting, he was sick.
Yeah, it was serious. Yeah.
Here's what my hope was that I wished he would have done, because I think Vince McMahon would have found this hilarious. That he would have gone out there and hit the big coast to coast, but before he went out there, he would have put on like Depends and just stuffed it with chocolate pudding and like strawberry jam. So when he hit that coast to coast, it just splattered all over the place like a Gallagher concert. That did not happen.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a little clever way to pay off the real life stuff he was going through.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't do that. Yeah, Shane with the win. He's announced as the best in the world. Celebrated with the trophy. Wait, did we totally didn't get AJ and Samoa Joe?
We touched upon it. It was good.
Yeah, so let's go through that finish too.
Oh, we did go through the finish, but I'll do it again. Joe fought off the calf crusher attempt. AJ dropped him with a Pele kick, more back and forth. AJ nailed the phenomenal forearm for the pin to retain.
So this kind of, I think this sends Joe way down.
Yeah.
They're not going to give him another title shot. I mean, this was the fourth time they've wrestled in like the last 2 months. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it for Joe for a while. That sucks. But yeah, they're definitely they're kind of running out of people for AJ. I don't know if they go with Orton next. Orton just lost here, but that doesn't really matter. So we'll see.
Yes. Explaining to the chat room, it has been a long day.
It has.
It's been a long day here on the West Coast. I woke up very early. I watched this. I'm trying to keep it going. It's weird too, because let me posit this theory. When something is really terrible in a way that's like got kind of like charm to it or sort of WTF or whatnot, I feel like as podcasters, that gives us a lot to riff on.
Yeah.
Like we can have a really lively, interesting podcast around that. This was just sort of bland and mediocre.
It was weird. That's the best way to put it. I think it was just the whole thing was weird. So they announced AJ versus Brock, second year in a row at the Survivor Series.
That'll be cool.
It was a good match last year. Brock won. I don't see any way in hell that AJ's winning this year, unless it's by count out or DQ. I definitely don't see Brock losing by pinfall or submission.
See, I thought maybe the reason why they put it back on Brock was because so AJ will beat Brock and then they can go to Braun.
What?
I thought maybe the reason Brock got the title here was so AJ could beat Brock and then the title goes to Braun in a rematch, maybe at the Rumble or TLC or something.
I don't see them. I don't see them keep paying all that money to Brock to lose to AJ and again to Braun at the Rumble. Again, I think it's WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania is not that far away. We're at the point where you start having to start building for those matches, because January is really where the big build starts. So you got to have some plans. And I think Brock's obviously in their plans for Mania.
Yeah.
And who gets the big win? I don't see anyone other than Braun being in that position. So you have Braun lose here, maybe win the Rumble and face Brock at Mania.
The last match of the night. It's weird that the Shane McMahon thing happened after the other stuff. Like after Brock, that should have told us something when Brock and Braun didn't go second to last or last.
Yeah, and you basically have that's 4 matches in a row now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 matches in a row with part-timers winning. Not full-time guys. So Shane, Brock, and now you had the main event. which was something in itself. Let's get to that.
Yeah, DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Entrances were cool. Shawn Michaels and Triple H out there. Kane came out from The Undertaker separately. Love the Undertaker entrance. We don't know how many he has left. Do you think this year's Survivor Series is going to be it for him, or do you think they're going to keep it going?
Man, I hope it is, but I think they keep it going till Mania now. I mean, I think they need everything they can get. And I think Undertaker's too much value. You know, when I watched them wrestle tonight, they were busting their ass for sure. They gave him way too much time. It was like almost 45 minutes long, this match. This match didn't need to go past 20. Shawn worked a lot, which I was kind of surprised. Triple H looked like he got hurt. But watching this, I did not care to see any of these guys wrestle again. And that includes Triple H. It wasn't pretty, but I mean, and they were trying. They're legends. They were by far the most over people on the show. The crowd was super hot for this match. I mean, they were chanting, "This is awesome!" like throughout. I mean, they're superstars, so you see why they keep bringing them back, and they're not being able to bring any of these young talent back. And I know some people in the chat are saying, "Well, they're legends. Obviously, they're going to get the biggest pop." During the Attitude Era, it wasn't the legends getting the biggest pops. It was Austin and Rock and the current stars. So, and we're far from that right now. There's no one they're building that special. So,
how do you think HBK looked in the ring?
Yeah, I mean, for how long he's been out of action, I thought he did good. You know, yeah. I thought he was fine. Bald Shawn is just weird to watch. You know, it's just weird. It just looks like someone photoshopped his head, and like photoshopped his head, you know, someone else's head on him. But it's just weird. I don't know. I wasn't excited about it when the match started. There were some cool parts, like when Undertaker first tagged in when Shawn was in the match. I thought that was kind of neat. But by the end, I was like, man, you guys really need to end this match. This is going on forever. It's not that entertaining outside of watching it for the Legends aspect, but from a match standpoint, it kind of sucked, honestly. Triple H and Undertaker were just off. Granted, later Triple H did injure his arm, but I'm talking about even before that. There was that. You remember that weird spot outside the ring? You could hear Triple H. Triple H had thrown Kane into one of the posts, and he grabbed Taker, and he told Taker, like, throw me the other way. And then they both just kind of ran into the barricade together. Did you see that part?
Yes, it does sound familiar.
Yeah, so they just kind of ran together into the barricade. And then Triple H went through a table, and that spot looked ugly. I don't know if that's where he hurt his arm, or if he was legitimately injured. It definitely looked like it.
Yeah, Shawn got a bloody nose during the match.
Yeah, he did the moonsault to the outside, and it looked like he landed on his face. It was an ugly moonsault. But man, at his age, to be able to do that, it's pretty amazing. But yeah, it looked like he just landed right on his face, so it did not look pretty. It's not something I'd advise him to do again.
Yeah, he got some moves, and he dropped Kane with the sweet chin music.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he should be sticking to, stuff that's not too high risk. I mean, kudos to him for trying, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it looked sloppy a lot.
Yeah, the double tombstone failed.
Yeah.
Shawn nailed Taker, got dropped again. Sweet chin music a second time, sent him to the pedigree from Triple H. Kane took the pin.
Weird that Triple H pinned Kane.
Hey, he's going over.
Yeah, I guess so. Got to keep that kid looking strong. There's something in him. But yeah, I mean, Shawn's comeback match, you would kind of think that he would get the win.
Yeah.
Unless it was a one and done, and I don't know.
Which seems, I don't know, maybe. Nothing will surprise me at this point. No, and you know what's terrible about that is that I don't feel like nothing will surprise me. Like, nothing will surprise me. The WWE does amazing things and great surprises. It's more like nothing will surprise me at this point. They just run it all into the ground.
No one gets over.
Yeah, and it's just
we'll see what they do. Yeah, someone bringing up Becky. I hope they don't botch that, because she is the only thing that feels like things are going in a positive direction for right now.
I liked the little promo she did on SmackDown this week, but I'll tell you, that was the number one thing I think me and everyone else was tuning into SmackDown to see, was her and Charlotte and what the next chapter was. And we got very little.
Well,
week?
I think it's done for now. They crammed I mean, they've wrestled like 5 times in the last 6 weeks. So I don't know how, I think they didn't let that feud marinate, but marinate. But I think,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like they should have not crammed so many matches in a short period. You spread them out and build a storyline and have more in between. But now, you got Becky and Ronda, and that to me is probably the most interesting match that on the show. Nakamura and Rollins, it'll be good, but Nakamura, they've done absolutely nothing with. They've done less with him since he won the U.S. title than before. So that to me is the most interesting match on the show by far.
Well, I'll tell you, so exhausted as I was this week from the round trip to Evolution in 48 hours. As soon as that was announced, Becky versus Ronda, I looked at my wife. I was like, Survivor Series is in LA this year. And they're like, no, we're not going.
You got to make plans quick. It's only 2 weeks.
I know we're not going to do it. But what I'm saying is like that. I mean, like Becky Charlotte was absolutely fantastic. One of the best matches I've ever seen live. Certainly one of the best women's matches in the WWE. Probably the best main roster match of this era.
Yeah, I can't think of any that was better. I thought that was the best match in a while. Men, women's, anything in WWE.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So I'm very much looking forward to Becky versus Ronda. I think that's going to be awesome. Well, the good news is Crown Jewel is over. So now we don't have to talk about Crown Jewel anymore.
Hopefully, unless there's some news that comes out. I have a feeling Crown Jewel isn't quite put to bed yet. I think there'll be a little bit more, but hopefully, good thing Survivor Series is coming up and there's something else to move on to.
And then after that, TLC and the Rumble, and that's it. We can let stuff breathe a little bit, actually build up. I think we still won't build up feuds. They'll wait till 2 weeks before. But
well, TLC is going to be a throwaway. So it's really the Rumble is going to be the next big one, after Survivor Series. So, Ronda Rousey ranked number 1, the PWI Women's 100.
Huh.
Actually, I agree with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Based on she's been booked?
So the evaluation period ended at the end of September. And she's just made a huge difference. I mean, who else would it be within that period? I mean, who else? Seriously.
In terms of, where was Becky and Charlotte on the list?
Becky was 11, but she didn't get, her current run until mid-August. So it was like she was like a month and a half in the evaluation period. And she didn't win the title until 2 weeks before the evaluation period. So
but she was putting in quality work all year.
Yeah, quality work doesn't mean anything if no one cares. She was not on most of the pay-per-view. She was, an afterthought until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Tessa Blanchard, no one knows who she is outside of hardcore wrestling fans. Who else? I'm trying to see who else they're naming in the chat. Carmella. I feel like Ronda Rousey is the biggest star in the company. She makes a difference. She gets the biggest ovations. She's not the best wrestler, but neither was Hulk Hogan for all those years. She makes a difference. She's getting the main events. She's getting the attention. So Asuka, please. Are you kidding me? Toni Storm, no one knows who she is. Again, this isn't just wrestling ability.
Where was Charlotte in the list?
She was somewhere in the top 10.
Like, who was number 2?
Let me get that up. Hold on a second. So, number 1, number 2 was Alexa Bliss. Number 3 was Charlotte. 4 was Io Shirai. 5 was Asuka. Then Shayna Baszler. Then Carmella. Then Nia Jax. And so, that was.
Wait, they put Carmella above Becky.
But up until that point, Becky wasn't. Carmella was in title feuds, and she had like 4 or 5 months there with the belt. And
Carmella was great. It's not to discredit her. I just feel like
great. No, she was not great.
She got to the point where I thought she could put on a credible match.
That's not what you want in a champion. That she might be able to put on a credible match. Because I mean, you see where she is now. That run did absolutely nothing for her. I think it just brought the title down. Asuka, they buried her again. It's nothing. It's not Asuka's fault. It's how she's been used. So anyway, I agree with Ronda Rousey actually. As far as everything else, star power, attention, making a difference, people caring.
Had a competitive match with Nikki Bella.
And Nia Jax. She had a good match with Nia Jax as
well. No. I'm saying her having a competitive match with Nikki Bella.
Right.
Like, that should not have been a competitive match.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, I'm trying to think of the superhero comparison there. It's just, you know, it's like Superman doesn't have like a knockdown drag out with Aquaman. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Right. Someone's saying Carmella's a bigger star now. No way. She was bigger last year when she had the briefcase. Now she forgets she's there, and then she comes out and does a dance break. Yeah.
They're going to run dance break into the ground.
Yeah.
They're already running into the ground.
She's a dance break person right now. So I wouldn't say she's a bigger star now. Yeah. So there we go. PWI top 500. I'm sure if Becky Lynch continues the way she is, you know, then I'd say for sure she'd be number one next year, but it's a long time to go.
I really thought Charlotte was going to win Sunday night. I was emotionally and mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. So I was glad that they didn't. All right.
Yep. Well, there you have it. We'll be back here Monday night.
Yeah, back. Mr. Matt Morgan will be back with us on Monday.
Talking Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Fallout from Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
What will happen next?
I will say they didn't air the propaganda video. That was a big plus. They didn't. It was funny. They did not say Saudi Arabia once the whole show, or on the pre-show. Riyadh, I think they said twice. So interesting show.
Hey, pays a lot. What are you going to do? Okay, folks. See you back here Monday night on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Until then, take care.